Built in different moments, different seasons. My grandparents left the winery living here in the caves, the old style caves. And it was our father who built this and the next building. So traditionally, in those years, it's 50 years ago, 60, 70 years ago, we had the barrels here and the barrels were old. So nowadays we renew the barrels every 6 years, more or less. In those years, the barrels were old. We cleaned them here and we maintained them here. And the only way to move them was the stairs. But you didn't, you just cleaned and remove at the ends. And then when we opened here, it was easy to work. And up to date in this area and in the top floor, we have some barrels, or most of the barrels are in the last building we are going to visit. And this is where we begin the area of fermentation, the tanks, stainless steel tanks. And also here we used to have 2 fooders, but nowadays we have other area of the winery where we are keeping the fooders. So this is going to be to the other side. And well, this is interesting. I like to explain about the fooders because, as probably you know, in Rioja, the aging in barrel, according to the law, the regulations, have to be in small barrels of 225 to make crianza, reserva, and reserva. But some of the wines have generic, so you don't mind where you age it. And so some wines like Monteviejo, like Ribazo, like Nico, or like Mazoro are aged here. So normally here we age Finca Ribazo and Finca Monteviejo in the fooders. And probably you know why. Well, in Rioja the tradition was to age the wines longer in barrel, and more we feel that the market, and we agree with that, is demanding wines in which you have character, you have fruit, but not so much oak, a bit more intensity in fruit. So some of the wines are aged here because you can keep them around 1 or 2 years, but the support of oak in a big volume is a bit lower. So we are playing with that. So we have traditional style of crianza reserva according to 100 years of winemaking, and together to that a bit more modern profile of wines, like Finca Ribazo, Finca Monteviejo.
Monteviejo is the same as the Finca del Terruno?
Finca del
Terruno?
What is that? That is?
I think the new label says Terruno on it.
No. Okay, we say Terruño. You know, but I thought you were meaning there are other wines here called Finca del Ternero, Finca del Olivo. No. So we, in the new labeling, in Spanish, terroir is French, terroir is Terruño. It's the same way. So, when you say terroir in French, that's French. We were thinking terroir or Terruño. And we thought, well, we are Spanish. Spanish. Terruño is terroir. So, because why? Because at the end, probably you know this. The tradition in Rioja has been always a tradition of blending wines, grapes from different vineyards, and we still do that. Our crianza, our reserva, our Gran Reserva are blends of different vineyards. The Gran Reserva and the Reserva have the best grapes of some of the oldest and higher location, higher in the slope, in the mountain vineyards. So good production, but a blend. And that's good, and we like to maintain the profile. But the market is demanding more, and we agree with that. But following probably the French, that they were doing one vineyard, one wine. So if you have a good vineyard that you think is amazing, show it in the wine. Because in the blends, logically, it makes sense. You compensate according to the vineyard, to the vintage, to the weather. Some years are better, some others not. So you compensate. But in the single vineyard, it's just in that vineyard. And then you can taste how is the weather, how was the year, how was everything. We can do that in Monteviejo, and we will taste it.
Are the tanks assembled in the room?
What's it?
The tanks? Are they assembled here?
No, I think they came that way.
Okay.
I didn't see it. I had my own doubts like you, but I think they came to that way in horizontal way.
And then they just rebuilt it?
And the food layers. Well, the food layer is easier because we have been moving these days because there was another one. But also the tank, I think came horizontal to that way.
I was actually about to ask, is this room always look like this, or you guys change it around?
It's cool because years ago, this was the barrel area. This was full of barrels. Then we built the modern building where we were modern. Now it's not so modern, but it's 20 years ago. The building area where we have the main barrels, and then here we put tanks. And now part of time we were putting foodless. But now we are changing foodless to other area. But so improvising.
You guys always
Traditionally it used to be for barrels, and nowadays it's more for tanks. I think in the future it's going to be more for tanks and for production. Or sometimes every year we make a kind of experiment. Again, most of the productions are done in one way, but some years you make, maybe, I don't think so, but well, I probably you know about this, there are eggs, concrete eggs, or there is other, how to say, clay tanks, or I am not so close to the clay, but well, I think clay makes sense in La Mancha. There they have always clay, but here we never have it. But well, some people is playing with that. So some years, if you think that something can support you to good things, you need to make experiments. So this is the area of the product.